Welcome to Ask Mark number 93. It is a pleasure to have you here this beautiful afternoon. Check out the view behind us, isn't that great? Hey, my book's now available as well, Make Him Yours, Beating the Odds of Modern Dating. Don't forget to grab yourself a copy if you haven't already. It's pretty cool. And today I'm answering a bunch of your questions from the videos. So if you do have questions and you want them in an Ask Mark video, pop them in the comment space below and hashtag Ask Mark. Let's get into the questions today. They're on the phone. And the first one is from Anonymous, actually. Really nice question. Thanks, Mark. I needed to hear this. And this is actually in response to a quote on our Instagram. So if you're not on the Instagram, head over to @MakeHimYours. We also take some of the questions from there. The quote was, forgive yourself for your mistakes. Learn from them and remember that it's part of your journey. What I said, realize. She said, thanks, Mark. I really needed to hear this. I've made a few mistakes on my path to finding love. Still haven't found anyone yet, including joining and deleting Bumble at least 6 times and never trying it for more than 2 days. I get way too impatient and anxious. I have anxiety and think that no one likes me. I'm not pretty enough, general not enoughness. I want to join again, but I want to do it right. What advice would you have for me? Well, the first piece of advice, Anonymous, is that you are watching this channel in the right month. This whole month, all the videos, in fact, are sponsored by BetterHelp. And they're all about helping handle anxiety, helping you be in a better headspace as well, so that you can have great relationships and attract the relationship you deserve. And what's more, a couple of the videos last month, you'll be able to watch them, are on texting. So we're going to put those on as well, and how to create great text conversations where the guys are investing in you, especially online. So I think the key points would be, watch through those videos, particularly the one about making mistakes, really important, the one about handling anxiety, and the one about how to create a great energy over text. And the biggest thing I would say, particularly with anxiety, is that the demon you swallow gives you its power. Now, I stole that from Dr. Diana Krishna, good friend of mine, but what that's to say is really ghosts are only scary in the dark. Once you turn the lights on, by swallowing that demon, by confronting the ghost, you're on the path. So this is not just about men and relationships for you. This is a whole journey of personal growth and getting through your anxiety. It's almost to the point where you'll get the guy on this path, but this is a growth journey for you. And by swallowing this anxiety, by going through it, by facing it, you're going to be able to become the best you on this journey. And I would say when you do log in online, look at what comes up to you, do the journaling exercise from the other video, even get a coach yourself. Or book in with BetterHelp if you're really struggling with your anxiety. I'll put the link in the description. But work on what's up in here, deal with this, and I promise you'll be so, so proud of yourself by the end of your journey. Second question is, again from Anonymous. Have you any knowledge about Westerners and Arabs in love relationships? Please do not make public my name. Well, Anonymous, I've made public your name, Anonymous. Look, the biggest thing I've found with Westerners, coaching Westerners who are in Arab environments, is that dealing with a lot of the conservatism there and a lot of the patriarchal mindsets is challenging for them. You've got to be a good filterer. You've got to be really good at not taking it personally. And you think Tinder's bad in the US, try Tinder in Saudi Arabia. 90% of the guys don't even have a photo. So I do empathize with my clients from those countries. The biggest piece is you're just looking to filter in that person who thinks like you do. And immediately knowing not even 90, but 99% of the people won't fit your belief system as a empowered, outspoken woman. It's sad to say, but that's a lot of the truth in some of these cultures. Understanding that some guys, a lot of guys, most guys, local guys just won't vibe with that. That's okay, right? If you're a bit of a fish out of water in that world, you're just looking for your other fish out of water. So talk like you'd talk, speak up like you'd speak, and you'll filter in whether it's a local with a Western mindset or an expat or a guy that thinks like you. You'll filter in people with more progressive mindsets, and that's really the best you can do if you have to stay in that area. It can definitely be done, so don't doubt yourself. It can be done, but it's a longer process, and you've got to be really good with your filtering and not taking it personally. The next question is from Carmen. Carmen says, are you married, Mr. Mark? No, I'm not. I have a lovely partner, but we are not married. Anna says, should I text him? His texts have gone from texting every day to texting once a day. In one of his texts, he states that he was going to have a family from out of state over, that if he didn't text or call, it meant his hands were full. Anna, I'm not sensing a lot of real teamwork connection in this relationship. I could be wrong, but what I'm hearing is, hey, it's convenient to text you as long as you're around, as long as you want to be my pen pal, but as soon as that gets inconvenient, I'm not going to be there. Now, I could be totally wrong. This could be a partner of yours who you talk to all the time and who has always been really loyal, and he just says, hey babe, I'm going to be out of action for a few days because my family's here, which would be a different story. But Anna, don't accept crumbs, okay? If you're not happy with the amount that you're getting, put a boundary around it. You can let him know that boundary and then give him the freedom to decide what he wants to do with that information. Chubby. Chubby says he asked me if we could stay friends after our breakup after a year of dating. I blocked him and we haven't spoken in years. I don't have any feelings for him except to be friends like we did before we started dating. What do you guys think? You can be friends with him if you want to, Chubby. He can decide if he's okay with just being friends. All you can do from your end is put the offer out there and see how he responds. If you don't want to do it, that's okay. If he doesn't want to do it, that's okay too. It takes two pieces, I'll add this in, it takes two pieces to be friends with an ex. You both have to be grateful for the relationship. Matthew, what is that bird?
I don't know, I thought that was a baby, but I think it's a bird.
And number two, you both have to believe that it doesn't work as a couple. Like really at your core, you have to believe you don't work as a couple. I'm good friends with one of my exes, and we both know we don't work as a couple, and we both are very grateful for the relationship. Those are the two rules, both people have to have them, that make friendship work. So if you think you can do that, give it a shot. If he's not open to it, that's okay as well. Jessi says, what do you say when you can't decide between passion and security? Passion might fizzle out, but security might feel safe. Look, what's the ad, Matthew? Yeah, this ad.
How do you decide between crunchy and soft tacos?
¿Por qué no los dos?
So I really think you can have both. And look, are you going to get high on passion all the time in a secure relationship? No, you're not. But you've also got to ask yourself, what do I want long term? Do I want something that's just chemistry and that's all it's based out of? No security, no depth? Or do I want something that's secure and stable where we can work to bring the passion in? The challenge in monogamy, Esther Perel always talks about this. The big challenge you have in monogamy is not usually keeping security, not in good monogamy. It's keeping excitement and it's keeping passion. So by finding ways to create space, by finding ways to live your own lives to be a little more separate, you'll allow that space to create desire and passion again. So in a great relationship,
¿Por qué no los dos?
Michelle says what to do if they seem to be losing interest in general, or maybe you did something silly. They're still there, but extremely neutral. They're not pulling away yet, but just observing the situation for a little while longer. What to do? I would call them out on it, Michelle, and listen to your intuition. I'd say something like, what's going on for you? You're a bit off. I'm sensing something's off with you. If they're like, no, it's fine. I'd go, okay, I don't believe you. But I'd be listening for what their actions and words are saying and making an analysis out of that. If they can explain themselves, if that person can explain their stress and what's going on for them, that is a chance to definitely go deeper. If not, it's kind of an indicator that they're on the fence within themselves and you've got to do with that information whatever you want. Maybe you need to pull away yourself, maybe you need to just give them a little bit of time. But I would definitely be speaking up about it. Next question is from Maribeth, who says, great video. This is on the last Ask Mark video, actually, 2 Ask Marks ago. Quick question, how long is too long to wait for a guy to become exclusive? It's been 15 months. I've met his kids, family knows about me, plans to meet them. He's not sure if he wants to marry again after a bad divorce. Should I just walk away? Oh, Maribeth, that's very long. I think you've really got to have a boundary around this, ladies. Your exclusivity has value. And if you're forming emotional hooks, if you're meeting kids, if you're getting involved with family, if you're being part of his life, you don't want to be doing that on a non-exclusive basis. It's sort of grabbing someone with one hand and pushing them away with the other, and it could really mean that you're in an emotionally unstable place. So I would say that's definitely too long, but it's not so much a time thing. I mean, more than a few months is stretching it, but if you guys want to do casual, go for it. It's more of a emotional connection thing. And if it's getting to the point, if I was meeting a partner's parents or meeting friends or getting involved in her life, I would not want to do that exclusively, non-exclusively for very long. There's just too many emotional hooks that could cause problems later without that solid base. Karina says, hey Mark, always giving great advice. Thank you, Karina. I have a question about the ex's past. Is it really that important to talk about it? I mean, why do I have to talk about it? The past is the past. Why bring it back? Isn't that a sign of insecurity? I always find it annoying when a guy keeps asking me about it. Am I wrong? I mean, I don't care about those things. No, I don't think you're wrong at all. But I do think the past is part of people's journeys. And so I wouldn't be shutting it down if he wants to talk about his. If you want to talk about yours, you've got to kind of have a gut instinct for it. And if someone is asking from a place of insecurity, which can definitely happen, then yeah, I'd be putting boundaries around that. And if you feel that they're prying or that it's not voluntary sharing from you, yes, I would definitely be putting boundaries around that. Personally, I like to talk about my past sometimes because it's where the learnings come from. It's where I'm very grateful for my past. There's lots of things that I love to share about my past. But if you feel someone is prying, that is not necessarily something that you have to reveal. In fact, as you say, it could well be a sign of insecurity in that person. So use your intuition, stick to your gut with it, and especially if it feels particularly one-sided, I'd be putting some boundaries up there saying no and listening to how that person responds. Because you'll either get one or two responses. He'll either be like, yep, cool, I respect that, and just get on with life, or he'll play up and he'll cause drama and he'll say, oh, you should have told me. And he won't really accept that you're saying no to him. And if he won't accept it, that's a really good orange/red flag to be listening out for. You want a man who loves your boundaries. Rose says, Mark, I was wondering if you have boundaries and your partner hates, like valuing your privacy, oh, this is topical, and keeping the conversations with his family on a polite but professional level, and he always points out that you should be friends with his family and close friends, is it because he's not understanding of the boundaries concept, he doesn't like a woman who values them, or is it a subtle way of him telling you that he's just not into you? I think it's worth mentioning that my now ex-partner and I have had a very difficult upbringing. He grew up in a family that struggled financially, while this has never been an issue in my family growing up. Is this really a thing? Is it that people with totally different upbringings can never create lasting relationship because their differences are just too big? This is a real opportunity for you and him to build intimacy. You guys have got to sit down and have a vulnerable, honest conversation about how these things make you feel. And then you've got to work as a team to find a solution. And it's not to say every one of these problems can be solved, but when you understand how each other feels, you can then make an informed decision about if you want to continue that or why it's important to that person. It sounds like you're really not understanding each other here. And I suspect you guys just haven't had a good, vulnerable feeling share about this. So he's got one idea of the world and one set of values, you've got another. Inevitably in relationships, people's boundaries will clash. So you've got to speak up about that and see if you can find a solution together. If you can't, the two of you have just got to decide if you can live with that long term. Like, I'm friends with my exes. I said that earlier in the video. My partner doesn't really get that. That's just not something she does, but it's something that she said, okay, that's just Mark's thing. I don't really have to understand it, but that's a thing for him, so I accept it. It's not a hard deal breaker for her, and we found a way where I respect her boundaries as well to move into the middle on that topic. Rishka says, what if you have already changed yourself because of his insecurities and have zero male friends now? Oh dear, Rishka. Okay. And he wants to work on the relationship now, but he still wants me not to talk to another guy unless it's necessary. Is that correct? I don't believe so. You're being controlled, and no man who really loves and respects you for who you are is going to ask you to give up friends who are valuable to you. It's really that simple. I do not like this behavior at all from men. I think it's just insecure and unloving, frankly.
Very ordinary.
Very ordinary. Matthew agrees. Have you been ghosted by a guy that is not as attractive as you? Me personally? No. Are you not even that interested? I really don't get the dating culture now. On a more serious note, honey puss, yes, of course this happens. And I have to remind women of this all the time, that people less attractive than you will ghost you. That's a thing. Attraction is not a linear concept. We get it in our heads from childhood that, oh, if I reject him, that must mean I have more value. And then if he rejects me, that means he has more value. So if he rejected her but didn't reject me, then I have more value than her. It's just fucking ridiculous. Value is not a linear thing. Emotionally unavailable people reject emotionally available people all the time. People who are scared that they're not good enough for you will reject you because they're scared of you rejecting them. They'll get to the punch first. And avoidant people just reject people all the time because they're just getting too emotionally close and it terrifies them. So no, you can't think of a rejection in a linear sense. It just doesn't work that way. People reject each other because it's not a fit. There's so much in their childhoods that come into that. It's not about you. If you're getting the same result every time with the same feedback, then sure, you can tweak something. But thinking that because he rejected me, he's above me, that's just mental stories. Not true. You have value. Remember it. Noelle says, hey Mark, how do you know when you're ready to go into a relationship? That's a good question, Noelle. My advice would be, if you've let go of hurt to a point where you can have boundaries in place, where you're pretty clear on what you're looking for, and where you know that you're going to be able to walk away from a toxic situation, that's where I'd say you're ready to go in a relationship. You don't have to fully love yourself. You definitely don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be in a great spot. Relationships will grow you too. But if you're at a point where you can't get away from a toxic situation, or you're carrying energy that's going to keep you stuck in one, that's when in the short term, I would stay out of relationships and work on yourself. Roya says, oh my God, I've known a player for 9 months now. And of course I didn't realize he was one until recently. Oh dear. I called him out on it and I was expecting him to not respond, but he got pretty defensive. Although he apologized and said it was his fault, I still don't believe him. I told him I'd tell him next time I'm in town, but I don't think I will, lol. I wonder if he'll reach out at some point, though I will probably ignore. Go you, Roya. Samantha West says, I'm sure there are a lot of great men out there. I just haven't found someone I truly click with. There is one question, how to know if he's a violent person and a high quality man. Golly gosh. Your gut knows. Your gut knows. Now, if you've attracted that in the past, if you've attracted violent men in the past, I would take you through a process where we look into each of those, we figure out the early warning signs, we get you reconnected to your intuition, and we even just educate you on what healthy looks like. So you know what a healthy relationship model looks like, you can get away from an unhealthy one. You'll know when you really stop and listen to yourself, you will be able to spot a really unhealthy person. As I say, it might take a little bit of education, but you can do this. Whole bunch of signs, by the way, on anger problems. I'll post that video up here. So you can look out for those, but at a deeper level, you will know. What do we got here? Casper says, how to effectively get your needs met in a positive way. Number 1, speak up on what they are. Number 2, listen for his as well. And number 3, both of you get the freedom of choice. We get into this trap where we either don't speak up about our needs, or we speak up in a way that tells the person what they should be doing. Getting needs met is a conversation. It's a curiosity. It's let's figure out. Let's see how we can do that. So you have to speak up about them, but it's not about telling the other person what they should be doing. If you're in a relationship, you always want to be protecting his freedom of choice, right? Needy women or needy men even aren't turn off because they have needs. They're a turn off because they try to force people to meet their needs. As long as you speak your needs and then give freedom of choice to the other person, that's how to get your needs met in a positive way. We have a question from Jennifer. What if he gets jealous of other men liking me? What does that mean? It means there's some insecurity in him, and you and him are going to have to work together to decide how you want to handle that. You don't want to just do what he tells you to do, because if they're your friends, you don't want to give them up just for him. At the same time, you can respect and acknowledge his feelings and create a safe bubble with him. So you might create a strategy that allows you to have male friends, but maybe you let him know every time you're going to see them. Whatever works in your coupledom, but the point is you work together, you share your feelings about it, and you figure out a way that's acceptable and lovable for both of you. And the last question is from Captain Jack Sparrow. I love that. I was 8 when I had a crush on him and couldn't bring myself to tell him because he returned to his country. Across the Indian Ocean. That is a long way. And now I don't know what to do. I'm 15, he's 19. Oh, that's sweet. Do I need help or do I move on because I can't move on from him? Hey, Captain Jack, I'm assuming that you're a young girl. Look, we all develop crushes when we're young, and you having one is totally normal. But in the long term, you've got to decide if, do I just want to live with the kind of fantasy of this crush? Or do I want to meet someone that can really love me for me? And you might get the opportunity post-COVID to reconnect with this guy, and you'll be two different people who will have two different lives, and maybe you'll be able to build something together. But a lot of crushes are built around fantasy. They're built around ideas of what people are and what we perceive them to be. And if you really want to find and attract a deep love in your life, I'd encourage you to see someone who can be there with you, who can learn about you, no fantasy ideas, just two real human beings connecting. And that is the video for today. That's Ask Mark 93. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to grab my book, Make Him Yours, Beating the Odds of Modern Dating. It is now available online. You can grab it from Amazon and a bunch of different places. Post your question in the comments section below. Don't forget to hashtag AskMark when you do, and hit the subscribe button with the little bell so you get the notifications. Thanks for joining me in this beautiful evening. We had some friends joining us throughout the video. I'll see you in the next video real soon.